Okay, I have a style theory on why we have moved away from stuff like this to stuff like this. And in case you can't tell, the main difference that I'm talking about is the fit here between these two. This is a lot more contemporary and current with what we're seeing. Notice that the shirt is a little bit blousier, it's more relaxed, it's more flowy, the pants are higher waisted, he's got the pleats. Whereas if you go back to what we were wearing 10, 15 years ago, everything was skinny, skinny, skinny. Now, yes, a lot of this was rooted in what was happening in the skate and BMX scenes in the early to mid 2000s. Guys like Mike Aitken were wearing skinny stuff because it avoided having their pants get caught in their chains. But it's not always common that something that happens in a very niche culture then makes it into the mainstream. And so, yeah, of course, you would have seen skinny stuff in these subcultures of the extreme sports. But then to have it go mainstream to where everybody, myself included, was wearing like hyper skinny stuff for a good solid decade was kind of an interesting move. Part of it is the rhyming nature of fashion. And so when you have something like the baggy, really kind of like relaxed, loose cut suits of the 90s, then the antithesis of that is going to be moving towards the skinny stuff. And I think all of that is applicable. I don't think that there's just like one single factor that plays into this, but I do think that there's something that nobody else has addressed when it comes to the move from slim, hyper slim stuff into stuff that's a lot more relaxed. So, like, here's me 11 years and 40 pounds ago. And most of what I was doing, most of what the guys who were in the space we were doing, was all geared towards what looked good on Instagram. We were brand new to trying to navigate social media and to understand how it all worked and how it worked from a branding and a marketing perspective. I mean, at the time, I worked for a custom suit company and we were using this as a marketing tool, but it was all in the early stages of it. And these slim suits, as much as we tried to convince ourselves that they weren't, they were uncomfortable. They could look good for pictures if you pose just right and you got your button done just right and everything else, but you didn't move in these things. They were not fun to be in. When you would like stand up, you'd have to push your pant legs down back over your socks. I mean, I remember I had suit pants that were so tight that I had to put my socks on first, otherwise, they weren't getting on my feet at all. And it all just contributed to that very kind of like artificial, overly curated, pretty fake feeling that that's what a lot of social media was during this decade. And so I think the move to stuff that's a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more lived in, is another one of the indicators of the fact that we've moved away from the hyper polished idea of what social media was supposed to be, what fashion was supposed to be, what our lives were supposed to be during the 2010s and early 2020s. And this is just another way of showing that people are moving more towards authenticity, livability, this kind of like human aspect as opposed to just the algorithmic aspect of style.